everybody! Happy Sunday! I can't believe the weekend has already flown by. I hope everyone's doing well today. I am on a high because I started anime club at the right time. Or not at the right time, not delayed. Despite some shit bugging out before the stream, somehow, someway, by God's grace, it has started on time. Usually it's always like 10 minutes late. Hello Meepy, how are you? Thank you all for meeting me in this school that we all go to together after school in this school. It is Anime Club meeting number 27. I am so hyped. I hope you're having a good day. Lucky for me this week, the high is like 80, I think. So it's not going to be so miserable, but next week I think it's going to go back to being hellishly hot, but it is still a nice summer. It's not as bad as it was last year, because last year it was like a month or two of just like 90 and 100 degree days. But yeah, I hope you're all having a good day. Thank you for joining me at Anime Club today. Today we're going over our Code Geass, Lelouch of the Rebellion R2 watch along, or I guess not watch along, what we watched together, but not together all the time. Why are you sad, Tyra? What happened? But I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all excited. And yeah, I guess I'll just jump right in because this was a crazy season to go over. I think it's everything. Yeah. Usually I have to do a bunch of apologies for why I'm late, but I don't actually... Do I want a beverage? No, I think I'm okay. I have water. Alright. Hajimemasu. Commence Anime Club meeting number 27. Code Geass, Lelouch of the Rebellion. Let's go. Ikazo. So, our order of horseplay for those who are new. We're gonna do our icebreaker, our anime plot and overview, our characters, us, and other topics overview, our fun fact, the elders' thoughts and final opinion, aka my rating, and our next anime voting. I am so hyped because we have some good options. Our parents, parental issues, it's okay, I get it, bro. Yeah, Colin is cute here. She grew on me a bit, so I put her here. I was gonna say something else. Oh, I do have a random wheel spinner for the categories of voting. So it is randomized, and I think I've finally created a good method of the fourth voting option and how it's gonna be done, I'm pretty sure. So disregard the last random spin from last time, and yeah, we're doing a new spin today. I mean, we do a spin every day, but you'll see. I have it predetermined, I guess. Other than that, without further ado, let's go into the icebreaker. So our icebreaker for today is, who was your first anime crush? I know it's not very related to Code Geass. I try to theme them a little bit around the animes we're watching, but I thought this would be fun. For me, I would say Kishu from Tokyo Mew Mew. Actually, no, let me go back. That was the first anime I willingly watched, that I sought out to watch, knowing that it was anime. When I was a kid, I didn't know the difference between anime and cartoons. So I'd say my first anime crush was Gohan from Dragon Ball Z, because I would see him when I'd watch Dragon Ball coming home from school, and I was just a fat 7-year-old, and I just thought he was the cutest ever, especially during his Piccolo training arc when he got blonde hair. I thought he was so cute. Was and still is Naruto from Grand Blue Fantasy. Bro's dedicated to the OG. He is not switching up on the first one. I still think Kishu is cute, but Kishu is kind of a little Shota, so I don't really look at him in any sort of romantic manner, but he is a cute little guy. And when I was like 9 or 10, I developed a crush on Deep Blue, which is kind of like Kishu, another evil alien guy from the same show, but he is older. So I guess I'll go with him next. He definitely was one of my first 3 anime crushes. So you haven't barely watched any anime. Well, you should attend more anime club meetings because it is a great way to get into anime. And if you're indecisive and you don't know where to start, we have our little pre-selected voting options. And I think it's a pretty fun way to diddle with anime, you know? Not to glaze. But yeah, with that out of the way, I'll wrap up the icebreaker. I'll do the little synopsis of the anime that we're watching, and then you all can decide if you would like to stay or leave if you haven't watched this anime and you don't want any spoilers. So the anime that we're going over today, we watched Code Geass Season 1 and Season 2. Here is the synopsis of it and some information about it. If you would like to start it yourself without spoilers, the VOD will always be here, feel free to come back. Or if you've only watched a certain amount of episodes, you can leave whenever we get to the episode that you last saw. Watched some anime with my friend, and I had a crush on some character there, but I don't remember. That sucks. I have one anime that I can't remember, and I remember liking it. I can't remember the name, and I've searched really hard for it. I asked the anime Reddit, and usually they're really good at finding vague animes that people talk about, but someone just like fed my post into ChatGPT, and it just gave back some pure bullshit, and I was like, what the hell? I don't know. But yeah, if this sounds interesting to you, feel free to leave and come back later after you've watched it. Yeah, I had something stuck in my teeth. Oh, it's a sesame seed. I had bulldog earlier. I tried rosé bulldog for the first time. I've only ever had plain and carbonara. And ×2 spicy, I think. I might have had another one, but that was my first time having rosé, I'm pretty sure, so I put an egg and some sesame seeds on it. Alright, let's get into the episode overview. You definitely deserve 200 viewers. Oh, you think so? Thank you. I'll work hard to get there for you, so you can see me with 200 and be proud of me. Hold on, let me lick the monitor. There's like a little speck on it. Maybe? Oh yeah. It was. I didn't know if it was on the screen or not, or in the screen. Alright. Going once, going twice. Final spoiler warning before we get into the episodes. 3, 2, 1, ikuso. So, first off, the synopsises available for the episodes are very small compared to the last season, so I apologize if it seems like it brushes over a lot. But then, the last 5 episodes, all information about them are gone from my anime list. I don't know why, so I had to go and seek out the names and the synopsises, and when I searched those up, it only showed me stuff from season 1 first, so that was really annoying. So excuse me if some of these don't completely align with the names and the synopsises of the actual episode. I did my best. Oh, thank you, Tyree. I'm glad. I'm glad I made you proud. So episode 1, the day a demon awakens. So I was gonna do an overview, but the overview's here, so I'll just jump right in. It's a year after the battle between the Black Knights and the Britannian army. Zero is dead and only a handful of Black Knights remain, but Lelouch is alive with no memory of the last year. Is it a trick or a part of a greater plan? So this... I saw a lot of people in the reviews getting mad at this time skip where, like, Lelouch doesn't remember anything. They were saying that it feels like it resets the entire show. I don't think it does, and I'm pretty critical of Code Geass already. But, I didn't feel that this this occurrence went on any longer than it really needed to. I thought it was interesting enough, and it does bring up points later in the show that make the show interesting continually. It didn't, they kind of made it seem like it was like a random thing that didn't need to happen. I don't think so. Oh, really? I get that a lot. So yeah, I thought, all things considered, and with my rating of season 1, I thought this was a pretty good first episode. I thought it was intriguing, I thought it was fresh, and I thought, I don't know, it kind of ignited an interesting spark in the series again. Oh really? Thank you. I'm glad. Sometimes I get insecure about it and I think it's like really grating and awful. But I'm glad that some people like it. I always screw up and people told me my voice was annoying. Or people just like get mad at me for it. I don't know. Ironically, I used to like try to have a deeper voice, and I don't know, people said a lot of things about it. I guess I've heard the same things about all of the voices I can voice act. When I was a kid, I had a deeper voice, and it was really weird. And I don't really know why that happened. Because when I was like 10, I couldn't even talk like, let me lower my voice for a second. Like around here, I couldn't even talk like this low. Like, I could not. I don't know. And my theory is it's because I didn't have enough estrogen, and then once puberty started, I produced more. But when I was a kid, I would post videos on YouTube and people thought I was like a grown adult. Like, I got so many weird comments about it. It was odd. But yeah, I don't know. I'm getting used to it now though. I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, oh, it's unique, it's whatever. So I'm fine with it. My nose. Anyways, that's all I want to say about episode 1. I thought it was fine. I felt so bad that Colin was like, was she doing slave labor? Because somebody wanted to buy her, but she was like in a fucking bunny outfit, and I think she was still going to school, right? What if she wasn't? I'm just fucking stupid. Anyways, I thought it was scary as fuck that they were just like executing rebels on the little poles though. That was interesting. Next, episode 2, Plan for Independent Japan. I like this blonde guy. I thought he was funny. With his memories back, Lelouch brings Zaytri to life once more, but there's a year's worth of work to rebuild and still many unknown variables. What new advantages will the Britannian army have against them, and is Zaytri up to the task to face them again? More of a preview than a synopsis, but as I said, I couldn't really find. I could only find these short blips or like 9-paragraph wiki pages. So, as I said, I didn't think the memory loss thing was, or memory rewrite thing was frustrating. Also, they gave him a brother, and I was fucking confused for a second. I thought he was like adopted, and I was like, oh, his father remarried, but then I was like, that makes no fucking sense. I thought it was gonna be a reveal later that his father remarried or something, and this was like a stepbrother, but no, it was revealed later what the stepbrother was. But either way, I enjoyed the start of this season much more. Well, I enjoyed the start of the last season, and I kind of lost interest throughout until the last 5 episodes. There was kind of like a 10-episode blur of like stuff that I wasn't necessarily interested in, and I don't think it was that way for this season actually, but I did feel like this kind of slow start where we get to see more slice of life clips after the chaos of the last ending, or ending episodes of the last season. I did enjoy these casual day-to-day interactions that they had in the first beginning of the season 2, R2, I don't know what to call it, R2, second half. I appreciated it. I liked that we got to know the characters a bit more, and yeah, I think it was definitely stronger, and that's probably because it had much more funding after the first season because it was underfunded or not expected to succeed at the beginning. Next. Imprisoned in Campus, episode 3. This is another one of the slice of life episodes I thought was cute. I really enjoyed seeing Shirley and Lelouch together. I thought they were really cute, and I enjoyed Suzaku and Lelouch more in the season, though I got really irritated with Lelouch. But at the beginning, I enjoyed Lelouch, and I am kind of curious what his real personality is. I'm sure it like prompts the question, but I enjoyed seeing how he interacted with people when his memories were wiped. It was kind of nice to see. And then here's his little stepbrother down here. I'm calling him a stepbrother. They call each other brothers. Lelouch tries to get clues about Nunnally's whereabouts, but no one around him remembers her. To find her, he'll have to figure out his mysterious new brother, Rollo, but he'll have to do it while maintaining the guise that his memory hasn't returned. I thought this trope was very cool. I thought it was so interesting, because in the first season he was trying to pretend like he was clueless and that he wasn't Zero, and in this season he is trying to pretend like he doesn't remember who he is, and that's probably very hard, trying to like hide your emotional reactions to things that you do remember. That's probably difficult. I mean, it says it's difficult, but putting myself in Lelouch's shoes, especially scenes later on, I appreciated the writing. Shoes are so professional, you think so? I get so scared, they're so scuffed and like bad. I'm like, oh my god. I was literally like, I thought I was gonna be late for anime club today, and I was anticipating, I didn't know what the fuck was wrong with me. I was like, oh my god. If I delay the stream for 10 minutes again today, I'm going to get an email from like 10 Berrydroids that were like, Ichigo, we, this imaginary group of 10 Berrydroids in my head, came together to voice our disappointment with you and your unprofessionality of streams. I was like, oh holy shit. If I'm late to this stream again today, or if I have to postpone it, I'm going to get a write-up from my subscribers, and they're going to tell me that they're dropping me until until I improve or something like that. The council, yeah. I thought they were gonna be like, we've all noticed a significant decline in your quality of streams, and it is wasting our time, and we think it's disrespectful that you've wasted our time. Wasted our time with waiting for your streams that you delay. I don't know why I thought that would happen, but it really, I don't know. I was like, this is it. This is the stream. I gotta be on time today. Anyways, as I said, pretty good episode. I enjoyed watching Shirley and Lelouch interact here. Counterattack at the Gallows, episode 4. I think the stream the other day, what, the gray square incident or just the general mic crash? Two different issues. I think that Rollo's Geass was very interesting. I had a really good time with him on screen. Everything else I want to say is like a spoiler, so Lelouch only has a short time to save the imprisoned Black Knights and regain his followers, but he also needs to figure out Rollo and his role in the Britannian's gate. Will this boy and his Geass keep Lelouch from bringing back the Black Knights? I have to burp. Already. I have sparkle water in the fridge, but that'll make me burp more. Anyways, I did like, I thought it was interesting, good tension. The Black Knights being kidnapped and killed also, to put pressure on Lelouch/Zero to act while also he's trying to pretend like he has no memories and isn't Zero. Two different acts he has to put up while also having a brother that is a government spy and his best friend who knows him very well, or ex-best friend, trying to get information about him. It was chaotic, but I kind of felt like this like sense of like, oh, it's fine. He's gonna figure it out anyways, because He's so powerful. But I wasn't completely bored. I still had no idea, where the series was gonna go, so I wasn't like, oh, this is boring, I don't know what's gonna happen. The last season, I was kind of like, not bored, but it was like, I wasn't like actively excited to sit down, like, and watch it. I compare every anime I watched to Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood and Future Diaries. Future Diary Mirai Nikki, I feel is the worst an anime should be. I don't think Future Diary is bad. I think that Future Diary is fine or good. I think it has interesting enough plot, interesting enough characters, and enough suspense to keep the viewer invested. I don't think suspense is like important, obviously, in like a slice of life. That doesn't really matter. But something to keep the viewer coming back. And this is an action or like thriller anime with political mystery ties. So I kind of hold it to a standard above like a slice of life. And I feel like Future Diaries, like no anime should be worse than Future Diaries. Of course there's plenty that are, but I feel like that's my little baseline, yeah. That's like my average, like, I feel like it isn't hard to do better than Future Diary. Do you know Verity? Because it looks like Verity on the top left. Verity. Is that a character? I would say anything below Future Diaries is in the 5 out of 10 range and is average. I would rate Future Diaries a 6 or 7 out of 10. I think I have it rated as a 7 on Mal. But when I rewatch Future Diaries like once a year, and I never get bored of it. It's bad in its own ways and it's good in its own ways, and the bad is bad enough to like make you laugh and not really, it doesn't ruin the show. So yeah, I kind of compare it to that, and even rewatching Future Diaries, I'm like, oh, I can't wait for the next one. I can binge a Future Diaries rewatch. So for an anime, especially for an anime that I'm watching for the first time, I tend to get very invested. I can watch like boring animes and I'm still invested. Oh, the penguin. Oh, I see. You're talking about the classroom that we're all physically in right now. I'm picking up what you're putting down. So yeah, with that long-winded explanation, the first season, after about episode 7 or 8, I kind of like, I wasn't like actively like it wasn't in my mind even, like, I wonder what happens next, aside from just, I wonder how it ends. Like, I was like, I hope I can just skip to the end in my head. Until about the 20th episode, which I've noticed there's like a pattern in Geass where like the 20th episode kind of gives this illusion of wrapping things up before blowing them up again, which is interesting. So season 1 lacked that for me until, for about like 10 episodes straight, until season 2. In season 2, I was invested enough to where I was actively wondering what was gonna happen in the next episode. Hello, Russia, privetiki, как дела? So yeah, anyways, moving on. I don't know why I went on that tangent for episode 4, but episode 5, Knights of the Round. There is a brown girl, and we get to see her brown melanated mommy milkers in her ass in this episode. It is pretty cool. Hello. Suzuka returns to Ashford Academy to monitor Lelouch, determined to see if the other has regained his memories. Lelouch must take more care on the Britannian soldier, but when Suzuka plays an unexpected card, Lelouch's guard may fall to pieces. So when Suzuka showed up, I was like, oh my gosh, she's rubbing salt in the wound. Suzuku has such an ego in the first season and especially in this season, because he has an ego in the first season, but he doesn't really let it extend outside of his interpersonal relationships. And I feel like here, his ego is just kind of like daunting, probably because he's directly under the king. But he makes Lelouch confront his missing sister, and he has to act like he doesn't know her. I was like, that's cruel, bro. That's so cruel. And I can't even tell. I mean, he says he's not friends with Lelouch anymore and that he's mad at him for what he's done, but I can't tell because they still kind of joke together. And I know he acknowledges that later. He's like, why am I laughing with him? Because he has to pretend to be his classmate. They both have to pretend to be friends even though they don't like each other. It's interesting. It's an interesting dynamic. Next, episode 6, Surprise Attack Over the Pacific. I like this pink-haired girl. I think she's interesting. I also enjoy Princess Kaguya, and I don't know if the Chinese princess has been introduced yet, but the Chinese politics that are introduced in this oh, they were introduced last season too, but we get to see more of the politicians face to face. And I like the little Chinese princess girl. Nunnally is said to be the new viceroy of Area 11, and Lelouch will take every chance to get her back. But the reunion he wants may not go quite as planned. Has Nunnally chosen Suzuku over her beloved brother? I feel like it was cruel of Suzuku to basically adopt Nunnally. I already said that though, but he rubs salt in the wound a lot, and I don't know. This was such a messy season. This is a messy series, but there's a lot of parts of it with interpersonal relationships that play a big part in the politics and war of the series, where I'm like, I would just go yeesh, like I would kind of wince at the screen. I was like, Jesus Christ, because it was like a series of unfortunate events, and I was like, I wonder, I guess there's like politics for a lot of this show. I was like, I'm not so intrigued with that, but I was invested in the interpersonal drama of the characters, which is interesting because usually I tend to like focus on the greater picture of shows, and I see interpersonal conflict if it starts taking away from the main battle. I'm like, oh my gosh, lock in, focus on the main part of the story, you guys, you characters, you. But for this show, I didn't really care. I felt like they were interesting enough. Next, the abandoned mask. When Nunnally reveals her plans on starting the Nippon Special Zone again, Lelouch realizes that he may no longer be needed at her side. Has Zero's purpose been lost? Has the time come to drop the mask and stop his game? They're not about to kiss at the bottom. I didn't realize how similar that scene looks to the top one. But he does try to kiss Colin. I do wish there were a couple more scenes of pent-up love with him and Colin. Though I get why it ended up the way it did. I appreciated her pushing him away. I kind of wish there was kind of a love triangle with him having to choose between Shirley and Colin. I especially think it would have been cool if like him and Colin had like a little affair, I guess, or like dating or like romance of some sort, and then Colin rejected him and was like, you have to focus on the politics. I wish it was more like apparent. And also he ends up choosing Shirley, and I think then when what happens to Shirley happens, that would make it even more intriguing, because it was like he finally made this decision that had been built up. I think that would have been a really interesting dynamic to build on, but I'm not mad at what happened to it the way it is canonically. Good night, Pew Pew. And then he and his fake brother have a cute little interaction where they agree to work together. I liked his brother character. I thought it was cute. I liked that they were kind of there for each other. I wish they had a couple more moments together. I wouldn't have minded if this was like a 30-episode season just to build on a lot more of the friendship aspects of things or romance. I wouldn't have minded it. Other than that, I think that is everything I have to say about this episode. I did like his like little internal battle of like, is my personal, like, I mean obviously, but like, is my personal life is this worth sacrificing like my personal relationships for? And I think it kind of like parallels that as well when he erased the brown girl's memory and then she fell in love with the 11 guy. The idea of like abandoning politics to be happier in a more like personalized space in life that doesn't focus on the greater picture of things. I thought that was intriguing. There is this overarching theme in the show of the true self and the true self and what you want and what you believe in and abandoning it for a greater purpose as well. We see a lot of characters do that, especially with the Geass power itself and how it makes people do things they don't want to do. Lies as well. There's a theme of lies. And I think that was interesting once it was built more upon in season 2. I know I got beaten and yelled at for my thoughts on season 1, but I don't really have those same sorts of thoughts towards season 2. I do look at them as like the same story. But I do really feel like season 2 was a slightly different vibe and slightly better writing as well. 1 Million Miracles, episode 8. Zero agrees to join the Nippon Special Zone. Much to the surprise of the Black Knights, he makes a deal with the Britannian army that will lead to his exile. But exile is the same as running away. Has Zero forsaken the Japanese and his plans? I think he needs to work on morale with the Black Knights more, or needed to. Past tense. I thought introducing this idea of Zero himself being an idea and a concept and a belief that anybody can embody was cool. I liked that addition to it. I kind of remember another anime doing something like that. This anime reminds me of Gurren Lagann a lot in that way. And also, it reminded me of Full Metal in a way when it kind of went into the like, not psychological, the like other dimension kind of world that they were in. It also reminded me of Gurren Lagann, the Spiral King. The Spiral King reminded me of Lelouch's father. And not so much anyone in Full Metal, but I can see why people compare them. Lelouch definitely reminded me of Light Yagami, especially with the memory loss and also kind of how he loses himself in these goals and desires for justice. They are very much, I mean, I think they both technically have like God syndrome. I think they are kind of like the face of characters with God syndrome. Lelouch irks me a bit in this season because he has this habit of just kind of saying hurtful things. And in some cases, I see that there's like a little plan along with it, but in some cases it just seems to like add fuel to a fire in an already bad situation. when I felt like he should be trying to get people on his side and not hurting their feelings. He also becomes a domestic abuser, which is interesting. Next. A Bride in the Vermilion Forbidden City. Episode 9. A wedding is set to occur between the Empress of the Chinese Federation and the first Prince of Britannia. If the Chinese Federation turns on the Black Knights, everything they've worked towards could come to an end. Will Zero dare to crash her real wedding? I fucking hate Nina. I think that's her name, the green-haired girl. She was insufferable, and it's never directly confronted or corrected. She constantly falls into a screaming hysteria that seems to have no alliance to anybody. It just inconveniences whoever's around her. And yet, for some reason, she's in a position of power anyway. And she turns on Honorary Britannia, and she turns on Britannia, and she turns on 11s. And despite her diversity in who she turns on, she somehow always manages to blame it on 11s anyways. And she is just an awful character. She just sucks. She sucks to have on the screen. And I'm really surprised she wasn't killed off. She seems like she could have been nicely written collateral damage or something. I kind of wish I get why they made Shirley's dad a victim in the last season, but I kind of wish that plot point was put on Nina, because I feel like that would kind of like help explain her like mental hysteria and decline a little better. I feel like that would make much more sense, because Shirley kind of like handled the death of her father way better, and Nina's just kind of like in it for the love of the game. I know she lost the princess she was sexually attracted to, but before that, bro, she still had like a strong disdain for 11s. And I'm aware there are just real people out there in the world like that, and that's probably who she's based on, but it was just frustrating to have her on the screen as long as she was. Other than that, Colin did start to grow on me this season. I got more attached to characters in this season, to the point where whenever Colin was on screen, especially when she was fighting in her mech or Gundam, I was like, oh hell yeah, there she is, because I knew Colin was gonna come in clutch every time. She was a very fun character. And that's what I want to say again when I said like last season made me bored. This season I did have fun watching it. I still didn't rate it much of a higher score than I did season 1, but I still enjoyed watching it. I still had fun. I wouldn't consider it like a waste of time or anything. Tsugi. I thought my BGM was too loud for a second. When Shinhu wins glory, episode 10. Zero abscons? What? Abscons, I guess. Zero absconds with the Empress, taking her out of the Vermilion City. Before he can get far, they are stopped by an unknown nightmare. The Chinese Federation gains the advantage, taking one of the Black Knights hostage. Can the Knights afford the loss? This was, at the beginning, a little bit of slice of life moments, and I do enjoy it. I think the constant sexualization of the high schoolers is an interesting choice. But that was especially more common in earlier animes. I'm not sure. Is this technically a college? Because one of them graduates and then goes straight into the workforce. So I'm not sure if it's like a college high school hybrid, but I'm gonna assume they're all like high schoolers, and I think it's interesting to have so many naked scenes, but whatever. I enjoyed the slice of life. I enjoy a lot of the high school scenes. Anything that builds upon how the characters might as well be how the characters interact outside of conflict. I think when there's a action anime and we get to the point, especially once the plot picks up, where there's just a lot of fighting and we only really see them in serious situations. Little moments like this are very important, so I did enjoy having that there. Episode 11, Power of Passion. The Black Knights continue their fight against the Chinese, but the battle takes a turn for the worse when the Britannians back the eunuchs. They no longer care about the Empress's well-being, meaning Zero may have lost his bargaining chip in the battle. This was like more of a transitional episode to the next issue, in my opinion, and I enjoyed it. It was fine. As I said, I had fun watching all of the episodes this season. I enjoyed the, as I said, the Chinese princess and Princess Kaguya, their interactions, and I enjoyed just the Chinese princess in general, and I enjoyed her dynamic with the guy that she saved. I thought it was interesting that these girls were marrying men that were so much older than them in such a modern world. It got so primitive there for a second. But either way, I enjoyed her little guard guy. Especially that she saved him. And yeah. Next. Love Attack. This is another there's no such thing as like a filler or slice of life episode. I think the only one that really comes to mind for the entire episode was when the cat stole Zero's mask in season 1. Other than that, this was a fun little slice of life vibe episode that I appreciated. Let me read the synopsis. The Knights of Round have become students at Ashford Academy right as Lelouch has returned, but he has other worries, like the countless dates his stand-in set up while he was away. Lelouch must take on his next challenge, Cupid Day. I thought this was funny. I enjoy him, and I keep wanting to call her Nymphy. Shirley. Shirley is dynamic. I get her mixed up with like Nunnally and Yuffie and Shirley, and I keep thinking of a Nymphy from another anime. I enjoyed him and Shirley. I thought it was cute, a cute episode. And yeah, that's everything. Assassin from the Past, episode 13. Jeremiah seeks out Lelouch to end their dance once and for all. With his ability to cancel Lelouch's Geass power, Jeremiah may be more of a threat than expected. Or will an unexpected connection change their dynamic? Question mark. If I'm correct, this is the episode that Shirley dies in. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is the episode. With that being said, I did like, oh, hello Spike, how are you? I hope you're having a good day. I did like the, as I said, the build on the characters' interpersonal relationships, and I did like Shirley and Lelouch's interactions, but I didn't really have much of an emotional reaction to her death. I mean, I saw it and I was sad. I felt bad for her and Lelouch. But I wasn't like, it wasn't like a character death where you're like actively, like, what's the word? Dreading the upcoming death, and you're like, no, no, and you're like actively thinking about the death later after watching it. It wasn't like that for me. And I didn't really get connected to any of the characters. The only character I was really sad that we said goodbye to was his brother, because I thought he was such a cute character. And maybe Mao as well, but I didn't think about it later. But did I read this already? Yes, I did. Okay. I think this is the episode, though. And there is a lot of, like, background conflict and lore being revealed throughout these episodes, so I apologize if I missed something that isn't mentioned in the synopsises. Like Vivi and the King's dynamic and things like that that were revealed. I'll talk about that at the end. Once we go through all the episodes though. Ah! I almost spilt my drink behind my computer. Continuing. Geass Hunt, episode 14. With Shirley's death hanging over him, Lelouch directs his anger towards the Geass power. He makes his first contact with the mysterious Vivi and declares war. Meanwhile, Suzaku plans to take drastic measures to force answers about Lelouch and Colin. I will say, I thought Lelouch's reaction to his brother killing Shirley was scarily nonchalant for what it was, for what that situation was. I guess he had no choice, but it was eerie, and I guess that was probably the point, but I was kind of sad that he didn't even go to her funeral. I kind of wish we saw more emotion out of him there. Especially because he was still trying to put on the front that he wasn't Zero, and he was suspecting, Suzuka was suspecting him of being the one to kill Shirley. I feel like it would've... He didn't show up to the funeral, so it looked much more sus. And I just feel bad for Shirley's mom, because she's lost her husband and daughter, but... yeah, that is... I thought it was interesting that he directed his anger towards Geass and the cause of the Geass also. And, yeah, I felt bad for Colin being, like, kidnapped and held hostage. Or not hostage, just as, like, as a captive, I guess. I don't know the right word. See, episode 15, The Sea's World. We got to see, finally, Cece's lore. Hello, Hyper, how are you? Finally, Lelouch comes face to face with his father. Everything he's planned and schemed has led to this confrontation. But when Cece shows up suddenly, the truth about his contract and her past change everything. He thought he understood. So there's this like overlying theme of Cece's wish, and then it's revealed later that what she said, her wish to die, wasn't the true wish. I believe that's how I took it, at least. And then she's called a witch, but is she, if she got her power from like another lady? It was kind of like framed like leading up to it as she's like an immortal witch that makes deals with people, but I don't even know if she falls under the actual category of a witch. Though of course that could just be like the word that they're using to call her and they don't mean it in any sort of scientific way. Anyways, I thought this was a cool episode. I enjoyed seeing him confront his father. As I said, it reminded me of the Spiral King a lot. It reminds me of like Nia in the Spiral King quite a bit. If like we replace Lelouch with Nunnally, that'd be kind of the vibe. But good episode. I did enjoy how this season provided more information earlier on, whereas usually series release a lot of the overarching question answers like way later on. But we have 10 episodes to go, so I appreciated that. It kept it interesting. Good pacing for this season, I think. Episode 16, United Federation of Nations, Resolution number 1. The Emperor is missing and Zero takes the chance to ratify the United Federation of Nations. With the 47 nations involved, they will have enough backing to declare war on the Britannian Empire, finally freeing their countries, but nothing is ever so easy. I thought it was interestingly messy that he raised his... I mean, he didn't raise his goal, he hated the Britannian Empire, but... that it extended from this, like, base goal of liberating Japan before Japan was actually fully liberated to just, like, dissolving the Britannian Empire anyway. It's kind of a jump. a big bite to take off, but I commend it. And yeah, I liked seeing Nunnally and Colin interact. Other than that, I don't have anything else to add for this episode. Nunnally did kind of, I don't want to say she feels like a different character. It's kind of like when you have a character that doesn't have much traits prior, and then you can kind of mold them to whatever you want later, if you're like a writer. And it's like, it's not necessarily out of character, because there wasn't really many super solid traits prior to her, aside from like a basic archetype. That's kind of how it felt, because I would have thought that Nunnally was, unless she was like unaware of many conspiracies with the government, I would have thought she was aware of government corruption and a bit hesitant to side with people. Other than that, I don't have anything else to add for this one. Episode 17, The Taste of Humiliation. This scene, Suzaku and Lelouch have such intense scenes, and is this just like, is this normal for boy friendships? Is this how intense they get? I can't tell, but they had such intense, intimate emotions. I don't even know how to word it. And they had such like passion behind everything that both of them did. It was intense, bro. And they're both, I feel like Suzaku in a way is more intimidating than Lelouch. While the war rages on, Lelouch begs for Suzaku's help in making sure Nunnally will be safe. But with the death of Euphemia and Shirley still heavy on his heart, will Suzaku be able to do this for Zero, the murder, or is it for Lelouch, his oldest friend? I thought it was a good episode. I don't have anything else to add on that. I already said how I feel about the humiliation ritual. I had something else I wanted to say though. I can't remember. Oh, I think it was this episode where we got to see a flashback where Suzaku was beating up Lelouch and was like, "Take that, you dirty Brit!" And I thought that was funny that they used like our word for British people. I don't know if that just confirms that Britannia is meant to be Britain and not just a vague. Actually, I think it is America, but its name is inspired by Britain. I was trying to think of like where Britannia started from, where they started before they spread out. Other than that, let's go. Episode 18, Final Battle Tokyo 2. The battle for Tokyo fills the sky. The Black Knights take out the power, gaining temporary advantage. But when Suzaku appears, he threatens to use Britannia's most terrifying weapon, the Flaja. But to fire such a devastating weapon, is it worth it? This is, I believe this is the episode where everything fucking blows up. I don't think it's left on a cliffhanger. I think the way that Geass affects Suzaku is interesting. I think it's interesting the way that it's like the live command controls what he does when it is active. And for a second when he fired the Flaja and I saw that big ass fucking crater, for a second I thought that was just what I thought it was, just built that way. I was like, oh, this exploded here, but that was already there in the first place because it was such a clean cut circle. But then I was like, oh wait, not only just fucking exploded. And I felt it was kind of sad seeing Lelouch be like, I need to talk to her on the phone, where is she? And like not listening to people saying she's gone. And I'll continue to episode 19. Betrayal. Nunnally is gone. Lelouch cannot deal with the grief, and he locks himself away. Prince Sneasel calls a temporary ceasefire to reveal the truth behind Zero to his Black Knights. When they learn of his Geass, will this be the end of the Black Knights? This little locket I meant to say a couple episodes back. When he tries and takes it from his fake brother gets all sentimental about it, and it made me sad. And then he yells at his brother again here, and it makes me sad. Every time Lelouch gets mad at somebody, it makes me sad. But he doesn't get mad at Nina, and it bothers me. Nobody fucking slaps some sense into Nina. And I believe later Suzaku just has like a insane hysteria laugh moment. For a while, I thought this series was going to go in like a direction where, because Lelouch and Suzaku parallel each other, and one is like supposed to be good and the other is like bad, but they both have the same goal, and they're meant to represent like the different methods of achieving their goal. I thought after this, Lelouch was going to have like a change of heart, and Suzaku was going to have a change of heart, and they were going to like swing back to like opposite directions. That's kind of what I thought, but then Suzaku constantly fights off his like controlling desires, where if he's ever like trying to control somebody or I don't know, do anything kind of morally gray, he fights it off. So for a second I really thought they were going to swing the opposite direction there, where they both kind of change roles, where Suzaku's almost like, oh, I was stupid, there's no way to get what I want this way by aiding the law, I'm gonna side with Zero. But then in the days where Lelouch is isolated in his room after losing Shirley and Nolly, and kind of in his head that he was going to be like, okay, I'll do this a more just way, and then they were going to like confront each other again. I kind of thought it was going to do that, but I'm fine with the direction it went anyways, where they kind of both hung on to their archetypes. Episode 20, Emperor Dismissed. This is when, or let me read the synopsis first. Lelouch has lost everything and knows the only thing left is to take out his father, the Emperor, but he's not the only one bent on seeking him out. Suzaku, on Schniezel's orders, plans to assassinate the Emperor. What awaits the two on Okimia Island? I thought it was satisfying seeing other people finally be like, okay, yeah, our Emperor fucking sucks and doesn't give a shit about us, while also keeping the like overarching internal politics relations plot. And then we see his fucking mom, and I was like, holy shit. For a second, I thought the mom had been in the pink girl's body fighting her own son. Like, I thought she just changed her shape or something. I thought she had like a Geass where she was like, oh, I can just fucking shapeshift, but no. Little similar, but not quite. I'm gonna refill my water and maybe get another drink and I'll be back. 20 seems like a good place for that. So I'll be back. ちょっと待って。 so sorry for the wait. I decided to make a cup of coffee. I made a white chocolate latte again. I'm gonna taste test it because I think my coffee came out a little weak. So this is either gonna taste really good or really bad. Ooh. Not bad at all. Alrighty. Let me continue. I'm getting a headache, so hopefully the caffeine will help with that. I'm debating if I want to make it stronger, but I think it's okay. Alright, since I get the show. Okay, I went over this episode already. Yosh. Oh, sorry, and I'm gonna have my BGM blasting in you guys' ears. I guess I turned it up before leaving, and then it was like turned down again. That's weird. Alright, episode 2. Okay, this is when all evidence of episodes past 21 like disappeared. So I had to hunt it down so we get a more in-depth synopsis, and also that's kind of better because a lot happens in this part. I think the last episode synopsis is just like a huge white box of text, so lucky for you guys, I'll read it to you in a lovely, not ear-grating voice. But episode 21, the Ragnarok Night, is a lot lucky. I was saying earlier, I wouldn't have minded if the season was 30 episodes long to like give a little more space in between certain things, but I understand that animes get a like episode constraint a lot, so I'm not gonna hold them for that. Within the sort of, I was gonna say Alaska, Akasha, Lelouch learns the truth of his mother's death from the Emperor and Marina herself. Then Suzuku and Cece appears in after Lelouch. Suzuku and Cece appears in after Lelouch. They reveal their intention and initiate Ragnarok. Lelouch, realizing that the world the Empire desires has no future, evolving his Geass to its next level. Lelouch defeats his father with the help of the collective unconscious mind of humanity. The personification of the gods the Emperor sought to defeat. I cannot read, I'm sorry. When I made this bigger on the screen, it like kept the resolution you guys are seeing it in. It just made it bigger. So I'm looking at some pretty blurry letters right now. Anyways, dissolving his parents from existence, Marianne tries to Marianne tries to intervene, but Suzuku blocks her and says not even Euphemia would have wanted this. After which, Suzuku, still angry at Lelouch for killing Euphemia, draws his sword but refuses to kill him. 1 month later, with Ragnarok prevented, Lelouch seizes the throne as the new Emperor of Britannia, with the old Suzuku and Cece, or Aid, not old, having finally reconciled with both of them, and uses his Geass to make all dissenters in the court acknowledge him as such. I'm sorry for my speech impediment there. I got a tummy ache in the middle of reading that. Anyways, pretty strong episode. I like when certain things are wrapped up, but the series continues on. I do like that about this episode where you think it's coming, or this series where you think it's coming to an end and then something gets revealed or something happens and it builds upon that really well. And continually, I don't know how to word that. I think it's cool. And I don't think I'd change anything about this episode. I did like that he and Suzuku finally reconciled and allied again. The fucking scene where he was like, "You killed Euphemia," and he said, "What of it?" I was like, oh my god. I wish he would have just said, "I lost control of my Geass." Like, I feel like that would have helped a lot. But he didn't. At least not to Suzuku, I don't think. Honestly, he reminds me of myself because I think I've said on here before, I tend to share situations like the same way that Lelouch did here, where I have this like fear of being a narcissist. I don't know if it's for any particular reason, but I'm always scared that like I am an unreliable narrator in my own brain. So whenever I communicate some sort of conflict that happened between me and other people, or a group of people, whatever, I tend to like either put it in a neutral sense or just like portray myself badly. Like if I was like defending myself from someone, I would just come home and say that I punched somebody or that I did some sort of aggressive action. I'll kind of remove the defense from it because I kind of hesitate to like justify it. I don't know why. And I've seen other people be like, why would you do that? I don't know if there's like a word for it, but what he does there, where he's just like, yeah, I killed her, and he doesn't say these things that would rationalize it to other people, I guess I relate to it, and it is frustrating to watch. It's his character. I can't tell if it's like an ego thing or if he's just dedicated to like taking responsibility for it rawly. Like, I can't tell if he's just like, no, this is something I did and I need to just acknowledge it straight up and say that I killed her, or if it's because he doesn't want to say that he lost control of his power and appear weak, or both. Actually, I think there's a glitch on one of the upcoming slides, so actually, I wonder if that was... Okay, I guess we'll find out. I'll show you guys at the end. It's just a minor thing. We'll find out if it's glitched or not. It's his character. He's playing one. I guess that makes sense. I know what you're saying. His little, along with his manipulation tactics. Anyways, I don't have anything else to add to this episode. Episode 22. Lelouch begins his reformation of Britannia, abolishing the aristocracy and area system. The Knights of the Round attempt to remove Lelouch from power, but Suzuku, piloting the Lancelot Albion, easily defeats them. His position secure, Lelouch announces his intention to join the UFN. Colin escorts him to the meeting, giving orders to the Black Knights beforehand to gun her down if she appears to be under the influence of Geass. Lelouch gets her to take the long route, giving them the chance to speak in private. Colin recounts their history, then asks Lelouch what he intends to gain by becoming emperor, as well as what she means to him. Lelouch remains silent, so she gets him to show her feelings. But when the UFN demands to accept a... Wait! Did this get cut off? But when the UFN demand he accept a limit too. Well, that's okay. Because we all know what happens. And I'm assuming nobody who hasn't watched this part is watching right now for spoiler purposes. Right? That's naughty. Don't do that. Alright, so because we are all in on what on what the rest of the episode contained, I'll share my thoughts. Did I read the title yet? Episode 22, Emperor Lelouch. I think it was in the last episode that, when he finally became emperor, or it was at the beginning of this one, when all the people were like, blah, 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 like opposing, and he was like, let me put it in words you'll understand, and then just like commanded them to, acknowledge him as emperor. I thought that was cool. I do enjoy his ego. It is fun to watch in those senses. When it's not irritating. Aside from that, I feel like the last 5 episodes are all part of like its own like mini arc, so I won't share my thoughts on this one yet. Episode 23, Schneasel's Guys. Schneasel unveils his plan to position the Demaculius, am I saying that right? in such a way as to strike every warring nation in the world. Every warring nation, thus enforcing peace through threat of annihilation. If you guys fight, I'll blow you up. Cornelia objects but is gunned down. Right when I saw this scene, I was like, I'm surprised Cornelia is still alive. And then she got shot and I thought she died. Schnitzel. Lelouch declares Nunnally his enemy. Damocles? Maybe? Talbot? Lelouch declares Nunnally his enemy during the conversation. This is so messy. This stressed me out. But in private, has trouble with the thought of fighting her. With some harsh words from Suzuku and Cece's comfort, Lelouch comes to his senses and focuses on his original task. Not the last one. Clees. Frustrated that she cannot fight or protect anyone, Nunnally decides to shoulder the sin of launching Flasia herself. The sin. She's all backed by the Black Knights and the remaining knights of the round. Clashes with Lelouch. I don't know why I said the. In the skies above Mount Fuji. Though Lelouch is able to destroy a fair portion of the Black Knights by detonating the Sakuradite mines in Mount Fuji, the Damocles remains unassailable, and its payload of Flasia warhead still looms over him. The Flasias are scary, bro. I didn't quite piece together that they were big. They were bigger than normal missiles at first, because I said like I was like, oh, something blew up there, but that's just how that hole was designed. That was just some sort of new minimalist geometrical sphere architecture that they were working on. I didn't realize that that's what it did at first. My coffee turned out good. I hope there's not an awful thing of syrup at the bottom though. Episode 24, The Grip of Damocles. I gotta not read it fucked up like I did. The next slide I think is going to have a shit ton of text that nobody can read. The Black Knights manage... I was thinking of that fucking speed gif, bro. With the fucking text. I was like, that's gonna be me when that slide comes up, bro. On this fucking tablet behind me, trying to read it. The Black Knights manage to board the Avalon while Lelouch escapes. And actually, hold on, I remembered something I'm supposed to do on YouTube. That's very important. Minor detour here, there's a fucking tedious ass task I have to check on constantly, and I've been working on it for what feels like a month now. But this is the last button I have to click on it. Oh my goodness, thank God. And it is done. It is done. I am so grateful. Oh my God. Anyways, with that out of the way, yes. Sorry about that little side quest there. Where was I? Lelouch escapes in the Shinkido with Cece, holding Colin at bay long enough for him to escape. Using Nina's Flasia Eliminator, Lelouch and Suzuku successfully break into the Damocles, believing Lelouch to be trapped. Schneasel sets the Damocles self-destruct sequence and attempts to leave. However, Lelouch manages to outsmart Schneasel and uses his Geass to force him into obedience. Zaytri. Every time they say his name, it like jars me. Detard flies into a rage, shooting a Geass officer dead, and holding Lelouch at gunpoint, calling him Zero, and proclaiming that he shouldn't be alive and that his plan is finished. Before Schneasel shoots him in his dying moments, Detard asks Lelouch to use his Geass on him, to which Lelouch responds that Detard isn't worthy of it. Dude, this scene was so sad, bro. Because he was such a hardworking guy. Suzuku and Gino battle outside the fortress with Gino unable, I wanted to say unavailable, unable to hold out against him. Using his last attack, Gino takes out the Damocles barrier, allowing Colin to take his place in battle. Meanwhile, Lelouch confronts Nunnally, who reveals she has regained her sight, which he thought she had lost. I liked that they addressed why she's blind. I was annoyed that Nunnally was so unwilling to trust her brother after everything he had done for her. I know that she came around in the end, but I disliked her, I don't know, complete opposition to her only surviving family member for a second there. Next, season 25, Ray. I think this is the title, and here's the fucking block. I couldn't fit it in the square, no matter how small I made it. Let me recreate the speed screenshot. The final battle for the Damocles rages on between two separate major fronts. Lelouch confronting Nunnally for the Damocles key, and Suzaku and Colin engaging in what? I looked over and thought that was art of them kissing for a second. Like, I forgot the picture. Damocles key and Suzaku and Colin engaging in one final showdown. In the midst of the fighting, all the series still surviving characters, interesting wording, give their final thoughts on their reasons for participating in the conflict. The final battle concludes with Colin seemingly killing Suzaku, but at the same time, Lelouch managed to acquire the Damocles key from Nunnally, using his Geass, broadcasting to the entire world. Lelouch declares that now he will... Lelouch declares that now that he controls the Flasia weapons. Is that grammatically correct? Am I just, like, stupid? I'm gonna close my blinds so no creepers can look in here. Alright. Lelouch declares that now that he controls the Flasia weapons. I have hiccups, oh my god. He now stands in— No! No! My mouse is doing the spinny wheel thing. I thought everything was gonna crash. Okay, I'm back. He now stands in absolute control of the world 2 months later. Another time skip. Lelouch leads a convoy to execute those who rebelled against him before... Okay, being stopped what appears to be Zero. Swiftly going past Lelouch's bodyguard, Zero then stabs him using the sword Lelouch himself once carried. The Zero stabbing Lelouch is revealed to be Suzaku, who faked his own death. And as it turns out, the entirety of the series' final battles was all part of Lelouch's final plan, the Zero Requiem. With the world's hatred now solely focused on Lelouch, Suzaku as Zero would then execute him, allowing humanity to finally enter a peaceful future, while remaining as Zero to help it along in fulfilling this plan. Suzaku and Lelouch would be establishing peace and simultaneously imposing the greatest punishments on themselves. Death for Lelouch, who wishes for a tomorrow with his sister. Life for Suzaku, who wishes to atone for his sins through death. With only a few select people knowing the truth, Lelouch dies, having succeeded in destroying and rebuilding the world. With Lelouch's death, the world improves significantly, as the people act together for the sake of the future. The series ends with Cece musing to herself about how Geass condemns people to solitude, but in Lelouch's case this was wrong, happily noting how he overcame his loneliness. And that is it. I was confused at the beginning of the ending when I first saw it for a second, because I thought when he said everyone hates me, he was referring to like himself in both forms, like Lelouch and Zero. So I thought for a second the plan was gonna be that Suzaku kills Zero, because then everyone's like, okay, Zero's the cause of all this conflict. Let's kill him. But then after I thought about it for a little bit, I was like, oh, that's what he was talking about. So other than that, I thought I appreciate that that he died, because I feel like there's like, one second, I'm gonna drink my coffee. While I piece together my wording, I feel like there, especially nowadays, is a lot of like push for like digestible endings, and I'm not sure if that's because of the reliance on AI writing and just people's lack of ability to process any advanced literacy to process endings like this. And I know they were really upset at the Stranger Things ending. I think the Stranger Things ending was ass, but there's like this like fear that writers have of like making an ending too sad now and kind of going this like predictable route. But to me, back then in this era of time, this ending is predictable because I feel like there's no realistic way for Zero to continue his life after, or Lelouch to continue his life after everything is done. And I feel like that was like hinted at and also kind of obvious. And I feel like Death Note does this too. There are other series where the main character dies after committing some sort of atrocity to achieve peace. I think it is realistic, and I feel like a series now, if this was made now, they would be afraid to do that. And there's a lot of pressure on this, like, okay, it's fine, the surviving characters are all going to live together happily ever after in the end. So I appreciate that it did that, because there really are, regardless of the goal and the drive and the motives and the final destination, there are some like crimes and war crimes and moral things that, like, one, the only punishment is death, and two, I don't even think the person committing them would even want to live with that guilt anyways. So there's really just like no other option, it feels like. So I appreciate that they went that route. I want to say more about it, but I'm gonna microwave my coffee because it's so good and it turned to lukewarm already, so lukewarm. Chotto matte, I'll be back. Hello, I almost pressed the end stream button on accident. I actually bumped my coffee when I set it down, and it spilled a little bit, so I'm gonna wipe that up real quick. Oh no! It sogified my towel immediately. Do you guys know those towels, like the microfiber ones, but sometimes it's just like others, and they just like suck at absorbing, like they just kind of like push the shit all around? I feel like those are like the only towels that I could use when I worked in food service. Like I felt like that was the only shit we had to work with. Alright. Coffee's all clean. Hello. No, I bumped the desk and I thought it was gonna spill everywhere. Okay. I guess I'll go into my final thoughts after the next part, but that is the overview for all of the episodes. I think I said all my final thoughts throughout the episode review, that it reminded me a lot of Gurren Lagann with like the Spiral King and how he hurt his own people and what he thought was in their best interest, but they were like, we don't even want this isn't in our best interest. And a little bit of Full Metal as well. And that's it. So our character overview, I didn't want to recycle characters from the last one, so I tried to put some newer ones in, or characters that had some development. So without further ado, we've got Liyue Tianji Jiang. I think I pronounced that right. I liked her. I already said this. I thought she was a cute character. I enjoyed her. I didn't think she was like a hindrance at all. I didn't think she was annoying to have on the screen. I thought she was cute, especially with Kaguya. Suzuku Kururugi, I kept him here because he changed a little bit. I did feel he was more likable in this series, and I thought it was interesting how other characters acknowledged him, the things I disliked him for, where they were like, you betrayed your father and you've stabbed everybody in the back already. Things like that. I didn't find him as insufferable as he was in the first season. Perhaps that was like all of his weaknesses put on display in 25 episodes before this. I don't feel like he's a completely different character here though until the end. I feel like I wish he acknowledged his own like cognitive dissonance a little bit, but I don't hate him. He grew on me a bit. Then we have Rolo Lamperouge. I liked him. I thought he was cute. He was just a little sad guy who just wanted a family. I enjoyed having him on screen. I thought his Geass was very cool. I especially liked that it took like a toll on his body to use it. I thought that that was interesting. There was a little bit more of a risk to his Geass. I thought it was cool. And next, Kaguya Sumeragi. As I said, I liked her as well. I loved her and Liyue together. How they talked about their... I don't think they were like arranged marriages, but they were like definitely political marriages in a way. He's defective. Yeah, I thought that was just an insult at first. I thought that was like... I thought they were just calling him defective for having basic human weaknesses. But yeah, I loved Kaguya and Liyue together. And yeah, I quite enjoyed their characters. And she was she married? She was married to Zero, and they used that word a lot, but then someone said you were married to Lelouch. So I couldn't tell if she married... At first I thought she married like the concept of Zero, like I'm married to this political figure for political reasons. But then someone said you were married to Lelouch, and you knew him well despite not seeing his face. And then I got confused. Either way though, I think she acknowledges that it was a political wedding, so... yeah. I guess everything I have to say about that. I'm gonna taste test my coffee, because I put more coffee in it. Okay, good. It's still fine. I was worried I watered it down. And lastly, V2. I included this because he's built upon in this season more. He reminded me of the fucking like well, two things. The like blonde young Edward Elric's dad in Full Metal that kind of exists in like a dream state in some cases, and also the little like alchemy god guy in a way. Not exactly. He does remind me of certain Full Metal characters though that were evil, I guess, childish, but had a lot of power. Other than that, I did like the brother dynamic. Once that was introduced, I was like, oh, this is picking up. Other than that, that is the characters that I included for this list. Feel free to add your own thoughts on the characters already previously mentioned as well. Yeah, I don't have anything else to add because I think I already shared everything throughout. Singy. Whoops, let me go back. Ignore the Irish flag. I was going to say here, I didn't have a specific OST slide, but I wanted to say I did think that the OST improved this season. And that might have been because of budget funding, but the opening was better, the endings were better, the like background music was way better. Noticeably so, to where I actually noticed the background music and enjoyed it. That's what I have to say about the OST. So next is the fun fact. Hope you guys are excited. So Geass or Geass is a term used in Irish mythology that means contract or vow. And I included this picture of this Reddit post. Which was the same. I don't think, I mean, it was the same in some, but I think I heard like a couple new tracks. I could be wrong, but I think there were like one or two in the background. I included this Reddit post where they said I have a theory that Shirley is Irish. And I did click this post and people were like, why do you think that? And he was just like, because of her hair. And then everyone else was like, okay, fine, I guess. Fair enough. But then someone said that because of her name origins, she's most likely Scottish. And I just thought it was funny that the community was looking that deep into her because now her nationality is Britannian. And it has been for a while. I'm assuming her parents are, so I just thought it was funny. Next, I believe next is just my rating. So we're gonna see if there's a bug or not. Or not a bug, if it's like showing what I rated the last season. Either way. Tsuzukimasu. Oh, no, it's Elder Opinions time. Alright. So, here is our first Elder. Let me shrink this for a second. Okay, here is our first Elder. This is Dank Peanut 420. Dank Peanut 420 says he does not recommend. This was in 2015. Hello Samaj, how are you? I'm going to make this quick. Complete character 180s, plot holes, plot conveniences, loopholes, ass pulls, and the most overrated second season of any anime I've seen to date. But not the worst. That honor goes to Haruhi. I like that they specified. Because I'm moron. That's what Code Geass R2 is. It is a complete disappointment for any fans of the first season, even though the first wasn't a masterpiece and is still overrated. Suzuku sucks even more. This surprised me because I thought season 2 was better than season 1. I thought that was the general consensus. I'm good, I'm glad you're doing good. Lelouch still has a sister complex, but manages to be even dumber. Rolo is one of the most useless characters I've seen ever, and the plot turned into a complete mess. Plus the useless fan service doubled, but with less nudity. Frowny crying face. Less nudity? I know this is a pretty controversial point of view, like my Tokyo Ghoul review. This kills me whenever I read Mal reviews and they reference their other reviews as if people followed them specifically for their reviews and don't like just scroll through the reviews in general, they act as if like people are waiting on their review. And they'll reference like people's responses as if people's responses in their review on a different tab of a different anime are reading this one as well. But I still think it's the most valid point of view based on critical thinking. Is the show bad? Not really, but highly overrated. I don't know why all the fucking L's and I's are purple. I don't know if you guys are seeing that too. Yeah, I don't know why his L's are purple. But highly overrated. It's a fun watch if you're not too critical, but for me, it killed my brain cells way too much. Want a better anti-hero? Watch Death Note. Want a better mecha? Watch NGE. Or Tengen told the fuck logic up the ass. Gurren Lagann, great show. Or Gundam. The fucking Gurren Lagann statement. Want a better terrorist show? Watch Terror in Resonance. Terrorist show? Is that a genre? Want good writing? Watch The Legend of Galactic Heroes or Tatami or Tatami Universe. Rolo slander, kill him! I can see how he thought Rolo was useless, but also I don't think so, because I think Rolo added onto the Geass verse of like people who have it, and also built on Lish's personality a little bit. Next, Shu is based 2 says Code Geass tries to be philosophical, but with the intelligence of a first grader. The end justifies the means. Well, sure, maybe if your only interaction with human conflict is V for Vendetta, but maybe you should know anything about human history before making such a ridiculous claim. Really, the entirety of the shows for edgy teenagers like Code Geass attempts to be philosophical. It's just some guy having read a summary of one of Nietzsche's books and thinking it sounded cool. These shows just say these grand statements, but barely, sometimes not at all, support these statements at all in the text, and the messages are bullshit most of the time anyways. The grandiose nature of these works makes us overestimate the quality of these shows, but you must realize the utter hubris or just mindlessness to present such complex issues in such a lazy and incorrect way. There's a reason most children's shows only deal with simple black and white issues. Problems might emerge when a kid's only introduction to inherent human differences is class warfare, and Suzuku and Lelouch's little talk at the end of episode 5 while Cece was showing her bare ass on the screen. It just feels like Code Geass is all the bad stereotypes about anime that people who don't watch anime imagine when they think about it. I don't know how people mention it alongside the other all-time greats of the medium. He rated it a 1 out of 10. That means he rated this appalling. He rated it appalling on my anime list. If I had to pick like a negative review or rating, I would just give it a 5 out of 10. If I had to pick like a not good one. I save appalling for like Boku no Pico. That's what I rated appalling. Alright, next. This guy is Russian, by the way. XOF says, soap opera of self-defeating, psychotic, irredeemable, yes, even the lollies, war criminals dancing on corpses of the innocent allies continues. He ID'd his review for reference. Now, with mockery of Chinese for enhanced Japanese nationalism, JoJo Part 3 throwbacks, Tokyo Tamare and bread counting, tree jumping ninja maid as if from Naruto's universe, more tone-deaf fanservice, waxing false dichotomy poetics on extreme naivety versus extreme cynicism, melodramatic inner thoughts of worthless scum, plans of supposedly clever yet perpetually bloodthirsty, insubordinate, and losing all of their wits at fits of rage men ruined by stupidity of impulsive airheaded women. Thank you, Buff Cowboy, you loud demon. Thank you, thank you. The Queen of Which is meek, Nia, suicidal, WMD building mass murder, fetishizing terrorists as well as the world's biggest racist and sexual deviant. Convenient magical bullshit. Grandiosity, absurd villain whitewashing, attempts, and random plot sharks jumping to the moon. This guy talks insufferably. Well, he's Russian, he's gotta use big words. Apparently, this world of advanced mechs and supersonic hands have not invented jet engine planes, hypersonic missiles, and wide area warheads. Somehow, even mecha battles turn into stereotypical magic beam, overglowing and over-dramatized yelling. Suicidal propaganda, maximum hypocrisy, and the power of friendship, especially if it's friendships with psychopaths who were directly or indirectly involved in mass murders of civilian populations for shits and giggles. Music still kind of sucks too. Whole thing feels like a giant trolling shitpost of, we've heard that you like political global space operas, so we made one that you'll never forget for some reasons. I especially like the, because we're slightly grumpy, let's just give up on our lives. Let's just give up and give in our lives to our slavers that were introduced killing our elderly and children for fun, and we spent all this time fighting against part of the story. I thought that was entertaining, what say you? Honestly, let me open Opera real quick, actually. I think it's okay. There's a speck on my screen. I think it's okay to admit that I don't know how to feel about Geass. For no influence of these reviews, but there are some mini positive tangents I went on during the stream where I was like, okay, I really liked this part enough for me to be able to talk about it for a long time. And how much I liked it, talking about it out loud, I was like, okay, there's more positive points to this than I originally thought, even though I already said I did like this season more than season 2, meaning it would get a 7 out of 10. And then I talked about these other positive points that in theory would move it up a point. But then I still feel very strongly on some of the negative points brought up by the reviewers as well. And I'm not sure if this could have been fixed with better pacing. I'm not sure. I've already said all my complaints with it. So I'll just say I don't know how to rate it. I don't know how I feel about it. Other than indifferent, I guess. Next. Here is my rating. We're gonna find out if the slide's updated or not. My rating, drum roll please. Okay, updated. I rated this a fine, a 6 out of 10 again. And I was going to rate this a 7. I moved it up, and then I moved it up again to an 8. And then I moved it back down to a 7, then I moved it back down to a 6. Purely because I just don't know if I would describe it as good to a person. Hello, Buff Cowboy, how are you? I think like if someone was like, what did you think of it? I would be like, it was fine. I didn't hate watching it. I had fun watching it. And to me, that's all an anime should be. Yeah. I'm still gonna rate it a 6 out of 10. It's okay to be stupid as fuck and just generally indecisive in general sometimes. Well, thank you! I'm glad this is such an accepting and safe space. But yeah, I rated it a 6 out of 10. I don't really know how to feel about it. I don't even think I'd rewatch it, honestly, unless I was asked to reconsider my position. If I just like watched it straight through altogether. Other than that though, I think that is the final panel before voting. So alas, let me check though to be sure. I need to do the table of contents transition. I think I said I was going to do that last week, but then I didn't. Okay, So voting is next. I hope you guys are excited. I have some exciting choices that I didn't technically choose myself because I used a randomized wheel that I made a year ago. So for those who are new, we're going to have our voting. We're gonna pick between a special, or we're gonna pick between 3 animes, a top rated anime that's on the top anime rating list, whatever that is, on MAL or general anime, high rated animes. I almost choked. A seasonal anime / new anime, aka anime from this season, last season, season before that, general new animes. Nothing show can be as good as called Geass. What? You would rate it higher than Full Metal? A new anime, and then the third one is a retro anime, which is anything older than 5 years. Actually, I think I'm gonna change my new anime definition to be in the last 5 years, and then retro is gonna be before that, because then that will eliminate this whole like 4-year buffer gray area of animes that won't get chosen. Other than that, let's go on to the voting, and then the fourth option is a special option that is on a randomized wheel. So without further ado, let's go into our first option. For our new anime, I've picked Nippon Sangoku, the three nations of the Crimson Sun. This was released spring 2026. It has 12 episodes, rated R, 8.54 out of 10. And this is our new anime. This I got really excited to read about when I saw it in our Anime Club seasonal review for spring. The pinnacle of modern civilization known as Japan is now long forgotten, ravaged by civil war and technological collapse. Japan has regressed into a post-Meiji era society and is now divided into 3 imperial territories known as Yamato, Bu, and Sei. I want to say Seiji for a second. Coffee break. And Sei. However, Aoteru Misumi, a 15-year-old literature enthusiast, dreams to bring back the culture and technology that once made the pride of his country. Although unwilling to turn his theoretical knowledge into concrete action at first, a tragic government when? Oh, the word. I see. Seiji politics. My feet are sweaty. It's making me sad. Although unwilling to turn his theoretical knowledge into concrete action at first, a tragic turn of events drives Aoteru to head to Osaka in hopes of enlisting in the army and eventually uniting the country under his own banner. Osaka, once one of the 3 jewels of Kansai, has become a crime-ridden city where Aoteru almost loses his life. Luckily, he encounters a fellow ambitious young man named Yoshitsune Asama. Yoshitsune Asama, who pursues the same dream. With Aoteru's strategic prowess and Yoshitsune's masterful swordsmanship, the two now embark on a journey to restore the former glory of Japan. I think this sounds interesting. A very interesting time. And actually, darn, I should have picked longer animes because we were going to do Summer Anime Club next week, but actually I think we can push it back later because summer is not over yet, so I think it's fine. I usually pick a 25 episode anime for a 2 week gap. So that is our new anime option. Next is our top anime option, and I've picked The Apothecary Diaries. This is fall 2023. 24 episodes, PG-13, rated 8.84 out of 10. Mao Mao and Apothecary's daughter. Hello, Colossaurus. How are you? I was literally gonna say I wanted to start doing actual designated movie nights. Probably after anime clubs because there's like nothing else going on. There's no pressure for anything to to watch anything. I liked it. I just didn't want to call it like good. Yeah. To me, good means it evoked some sort of feeling out of me. Emotion. Other than like indifference. I can admire its strong points. Mao Mao, an apothecary's daughter, has been plucked from her peaceful life and sold to the you hate it. Sold to the lowest echelons of the imperial court. Now merely a maid, Mao Mao settles into her new mundane life and hides her extensive knowledge of medicine in order to avoid any unwanted attention. Not long after Mao Mao's arrival, the Imperial's infant children inexplicably began to experience grave symptoms. It's fine, it's fine. Fine isn't negative. Almost as if a curse has been cast, the curious Mao Mao easily solves the mystery and, to remain out of the limelight, attempts to leave an anonymous tip. Unfortunately, the dashing and perceptive eunuch Jinshi sees through it and manages to single her out. In recognition of her talent, Mao Mao was promoted to lady-in-waiting for the emperor's favorite concubine, Gyokuyo. You just don't like anything. How can you say it's better but rate it at the same time? I'm sorry. You mean hate it? It's just cause it's like two different fines. One is like a fine negative and one's a positive fine. As Mao Mao continues to remedy the numerous ailments afflicting the imperial court, her pharmaceutical expertise quickly proves indispensable. Did the same as season 1 because they're different. They're slightly different. But it's still the same show, the same story. Anyways, that is our top anime option. And next is our retro option. I don't know why I blanked out there. Our retro anime option is A channel. And this is a spring 2011 anime. 12 episodes. PG-13. That's what a season is. You're so sarcastic. PG-13 at 6.94 out of 10. So basically a 7 out of 10. I kind of want to start putting the genres up. But I feel like I already put so much on here. Forgetful and good-natured, Run Momoki has been best friends with Toru Ichi since childhood. Despite Run being 1 year older, her carefree attitude and popularity with the boys is a constant headache for the overprotective Toru. To complicate matters further, when Toru applies to the same high school as Run, she finds out that their little circle of two has grown into a quartet. Their new acquaintances, Nagisa Tennoji and Yuko Nishi, are classmates of Run, and in Toru's eyes, the two must prove they are trustworthy as a new high school year begins. The girls balance their friendship with the exhilarating opportunities of school life. This has been on This has been on my watch list for a while. It's not 6 out of 10, it's a 10 out of 10 because Mal doesn't allow decimals. It doesn't. I thought it just becomes decimals because of the sheer amount of reviews. I round up. I guess that makes sense. This is very close to a 7 out of 10. Anyways, that is our retro option. It is a nice, lighthearted, cozy anime to take off from the intense politics we've been dealing with. Individual ratings, I see. And then lastly, our special exciting option is going to be 7 out of 10. I have to round up. I didn't rate it in decimals though. I don't even know if I would rate it like a 6.5. I guess 6.5 out of 10. Anyways, our specialty option is Fan Theory Night. And for Fan Theory Night, we would go over the craziest and most interesting theories for various anime. I would seek them out, or you all could share your own. We will discuss their validity and if we agree and what we think It will also be formatted so that viewers can avoid spoilers for animes they haven't seen. So that is our special wheel option today. I will put up the voting options now, and we can vote while we wrap up the stream. But 789, so you actually rated a 9. What the fuck? What kind of logic is that, bro? What? Okay. I guess, bro, sure. Who gives a shit anymore? Next week's voting. So we have... Actually, let me go back and figure out how to spell that first one. If I want the shortened version. So here's our first one. Nippon Sangoku, the Three Sun Nations of the Crimson Sun. Nippon Sangoku. And then the Apothecary Diaries. I hope I spelled that right. It's not showing up in the autocorrect. Apothecary. I spelled apothecary. Oh my god. Apothecary Diaries. And then H&L. And then Theory Night. Okay, now poll has commenced. Have fun. I wonder if I can see what it says from here. Dismiss that. And yeah. I need to have a designated voting screen, I really do. Let me just put it on the special one because the special one contains like an explanation. And then I'll stock the voting. H&L and Theory Night are tied. Oh brother. I wonder if all have to break the tie. Oh no, H&L 6-7%. I'm surprised to see H&L winning. I mean, I wouldn't mind to watch H&L. I am torn between Nippon Sangoku. I'm trying not to be too hard on myself for my speech impediment because I realize that my teeth are literally fucking moving like daily, and I have to kind of slightly correct my tongue muscle memory. It does look cute, and I've been wanting to watch some older animes recently. 10 is a round number, so her real rating is 10 out of 10. I'm just following up Colin's logic. Oh, I see. Well, I guess I rated the entirety of Code Geass. Since 6 is more than 5, and if we look at it on a decimal scale, and 6 is closer to 10, then I guess I rated all of Code Geass a 10 out of 10. I guess you guys are right. We do have to finish Mirror Mask. And I was thinking, we should probably watch longer animes, longer movies during summer. Since school year will start soon. Always right, you're right, my bad. I like slice of life stuff, that's why I barely remember most of this video. That's just what? I don't even think we've watched mostly slice of life. I could be wrong. Maybe some slower stuff, but I don't think we've watched that many like school settings. Hyperbole? Oh, hyperbole? I see what you did there. Chobits. Does Chobits count as slice of life? Chobits bored me. I'm gonna be real. Chobits bored me. I remember Assassination Classroom kind of. I remember it too. I just got disappointed by it a little bit. Is it not pronounced hyperbole? Hyperbole. Yone? Every time I say Yone, it reminds me of my friend in Japan I used to go to cake buffets with, dessert buffets. And we would just pick out one dessert happily. And she was having me try. I don't remember what she was having me try. But there was something that I was trying. It was my first time having it in Japan. And I took a bite of it and I was like, And I remember she was like, as I was glazing it, she was like, Yone, Yone, desho? And I thought it was cute. So I picked up saying Yone from her. Hyperbole. She texted me like a month ago saying her husband hit her and that she didn't know what to do. But I think she's getting a divorce. She also offered me to live with her. She was like, if you want to come to Japan, bro, you can just like come over here right now. Because in theory, she was like, we wouldn't even charge you rent because we know how bad America is. And you could bring Aki. And my only issue with that is that I don't want to bring Aki to a possibly unstable situation. And two, it's already unstable, I think. You know? I mean, she owns the house. It's her house too, but and if I went, I could be on like a tourist visa and basically I would just have to take a little vacation to like Korea every 3 months, and that's like $40. Lavender marriage. No, I would just have to renew my tourist visa. But it is tempting. The only thing is that I'm still looking for an apartment that would take Aki as a foreigner. That's really hard. Other than that though, it is tempting, but yeah, I don't want to intrude on a crumbling marriage. I'll check the voting. H&L won surprisingly. I thought it would lose, to be honest. Like, I was hoping it would win. Actually, I hope everything wins. I'm always like, I never put animes on here that I actively dislike, so I'm happy either way. Alright, I guess H&L is winning, going once, going twice. I feel bad that Twitch can't interact with the voting. I wonder if there's a poll option for Twitch. I know there's a poll option in OBS, but I have no idea how that works. At all. Alright, and ending the poll in 3, 2, 1. So are you about to say nobody voting for this shit? Sobbing emoji when it popped my screen, bro. When I put it on the screen, I felt like it was a waste of time. But I don't know if you guys are the same. I enjoy seeing any anime at all. Like, anytime I see an anime, I'm like, oh, I would like to watch that one day. That's why my watch list is so large. So I enjoy seeing these animes that I probably wouldn't have heard of. So that's why I don't really mind putting, like, animes that obviously won't win on here. Because maybe someone will see it and be like, oh, I'll watch that. Because I like the voting options to also put animes on other people's radars. But I think it'll be cute and fun. But yeah, I guess with that, anime club meeting anime club meeting number 27 is adjourned. I mean, I really like Slice of Life, so it looked fun. Apothecary Diaries is pretty prolific and good as well, from what I've heard. I've heard that too. I've heard that I've seen some people say it's as good as Freyrin. I haven't seen either of them, so I can't testify to that, but I've seen people put them kind of on the same level. Other than that, that commences our anime club meeting. Let me see. So if you want to finish this anime, a day before next anime club, you will have to watch 2 episodes a day. That's pretty easy. So I think that's everything that I have to share. 2 episodes a day. Channel 1. And yeah, I'm debating if I want to make like little announcements on YouTube still, announcing what one. I guess that's fine. Other than that, thank you guys for hanging out with me for this anime club. I have to burp. Thank you mods for making sure everything goes smoothly. And I think that's everything. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. I'm excited to watch our next anime. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your days and nights and 24 hours. Thank you for spending time with me. And bye bye. Paka paka.